Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Bulletproof for BJJ podcast. I am JT.
I'm Joey. What's up, guys?
And today we will be discussing better recovery for BJJ part 3. Now, there's lots of things that we've already discussed, pre-class, post-class, all the things you can do to enhance your sleep and your body feeling better. But there are some things we haven't touched on that we both do in different amounts, and that many other athletes in other sports do that jiu-jitsu people can neglect, which, you know, some people say they're 5%ers, but I find for myself make a big difference. So we're going to go first to you, Joe, in terms of, is there anything in particular you do which you find is very helpful for you to bounce back?
I do a lot of things, but not many of them particularly regularly.
Okay.
So I guess I'll start with what I kind of do regularly that works well for me. Meditation, and let's just frame this recovery piece. There's a couple of different ways to go about it, but really what we're looking at is sort of putting the body in the best position possible to recover, right? So that we can train hard the next day and essentially like optimize the results that we get from our training. And this, for jiu-jitsu, this is physical, but it's also mental. It's allowing you to absorb information, assimilate it, for your tissues to recover, for your muscles to feel good, right? Like all those things. If I the way I think about it in my head, if we boil it down for what most jiu-jitsu people need, they need to down-regulate. And that means they need to relax the nervous system. And I say that, I simplify to that because most people in this modern life, like people living in a city, hustling, kids, family, business, ambition, whatever.
Yes.
Most of us are too upregulated. We don't sleep enough. We don't eat in a way that facilitates, like most of us kind of not eating particularly well. We're basically too stressed out. And when I say stressed, it's like excited. So the nervous system's super activated. I think anyone that goes camping regularly can identify, when I go camping, I'm way more chilled out.
Definitely.
Because you're sort of more in tune with when the sun is rising and going, all that stuff. Anyways, so if you add on top of that modern life 3, 4, 5 days of hard jiu-jitsu training, everyone knows, when you train jiu-jitsu, you're fucking excited.
Yeah, you get G'd up.
Whether you physically interpret it as, I'm excited, or you're like, that was a really fucking hard session. Wow. Like you walk out of the gym smashed.
Yeah.
That's upregulation of the nervous system. And that is why most people can't eat, right? When they go home.
Yeah, that's right.
It's I got no appetite because upregulation suppresses appetite.
That's right.
Because your body sees it as a fight or flight moment, which it's not really beneficial for you to get hungry at a point when you need to run from the saber-toothed tiger.
No. Or the 120 kilo white belt who's come to squash you.
Right. Ex-fucking rugby union player.
Ex-rugby bloody powerlifter.
So, what's up, Joe?
Used to play representative rugby. Can still power clean 160 kilos.
Big Joey, he's a strong guy that JT and I train with.
Joe Rush, shout out.
Human. But yeah, so in any case, it's like, all right, well, what can we do that helps us to bring the nervous system down, to down-regulate? And there's a few things that I do. Look, I run my own business. We run our own business. I got a baby now. I try to train a bunch. I'm ambitious with what I'm doing. I have always leaned to this side of overtraining and overstimulation.
Yes.
Just always have. And I'm not a lazy person, so naturally I'm kind of driven to do things. And obviously all of that's very beneficial, but it can come at a cost. And at times in my life, it has. Right. And I know you've had a similar thing where it's like, fuck, I've just gone too hard. I need to just reset a bit.
Yep.
So what do I kind of do on the regular that helps me with that? Something I've always wanted to do really regularly is meditate. And I've tried it in different forms over the years. And I haven't really ever found a way that works for me.
Right.
Something that I've been doing of late, it might only take me a minute to 5 minutes, is just some conscious breathing. And it'll be nasal breathing. So it's in and out through the nose and it's slow. And I'm paying attention to what's happening with my diaphragm. And like I said, it might only be 60 seconds, but taking a moment to do that actually goes a really long way to just kind of calming me down
Yeah.
Right. And it's not, I don't even know I'm hyped up, but I'm just like, if I get up in the morning, I go downstairs, I'm about to start my day and I go, no, I'll just sit down and like take 10 conscious breaths. I feel a little bit different after having taken those breaths.
Yeah, I agree. I think breathing is something we don't pay attention to. And when you are like overstimulated and quite hype, you tend to chest breathe. You tend to just that, like up in the chest. So you're not actually even taking a full breath. And what's funny is like if you do sit down and you do take this time, because I try and do this every day, usually in the afternoon, to just breathe very deeply through my nose, diaphragmatically, slow it down, hold that for a sec, and then very slowly let it go out. I'm like, whoa, that feels strange. I don't feel like I've done that all day. And you're taking all these half breaths. And then, it doesn't take too long before you're like, wow, I actually feel a lot better. I don't feel as tight. Thinking is clearer. And that's the thing, like being really, we're not getting into anything spiritual here, but just having your blood more oxygenated will mean your brain functions better. I mean, how well are you thinking when you're getting choked out?
All stress.
So desperate. But then how do you feel when you're going for a walk? You're like, that's pretty good. That's a nice plant over there. Sun shining. Yeah. Like I think when we relate this back to meditation, some of you out there may have heard about the benefits of meditation. Some of you may meditate regularly, but the idea of mindfulness, of just paying attention to something, just a single thing. The problem is, and I definitely suffer from this, is that I tend to think 1,000 things at once. My brain is 1,000 rabbit warrens of YouTube clips. Sometimes you're on YouTube and you're like, oh yeah, and then suddenly you're like watching midgets fight each other or something in Mexico. You're like, how did I get here? Like what happened that YouTube has looked at my algorithm and gone, he's going to like this.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, right? We
see a pattern here.
Yeah.
Bermuda Triangle, Epstein, midgets fighting each other in Mexico.
It's obvious. It's clear. My brain is a crazy place to be, and I have to put a lot of structure in my day-to-day life just to keep it in order. And definitely taking a bit of time every day to just be still. You don't have to shut your eyes. You don't even have to lie down. But to take time out of your phone, your emails, your work, even thinking about jiu-jitsu will pull you out of, the back of your brain, your lizard brain, where all your hormones are, to your prefrontal cortex and just the front of your brain where your higher thinking is. And really it gives you clarity. And that's one of the biggest things. You can see it. We can all see it, that when you're watching people roll, you can see someone who's really clear and they know what they're doing. And they usually look pretty calm. They're kind of like assassins. World champions usually have that kind of, not blank face, but they just look really calm. The other person's going mental and they're just really calm. And you're like, no, I think the calm person's they're probably going to get the better of this situation. And in terms of us calming ourselves down, whether it's after training or trying to still our minds from crazy busy work, taking a little bit of time every day to just think about your breathing, or conversely, just not think about all the bullshit in your life, is very healthy and very good for steering us towards being less stressed, having less stress hormones in our bodies, and bouncing back. But for me, I actually used to do some guided meditation in Melbourne. We used to go along to the Buddhist meditation center twice a week if we were lucky. And the thing that I noticed, it was held by a monk, again, Dorning. He's like one of the happiest guys I ever met. And I would like to be more like him. He doesn't do jiu-jitsu. But nothing bothered him. And I just thought that was like a superpower. And really, this is something that I work on. I probably have to work harder on it than you, Joe. Because maybe you're a bit more secure and feel calmer. But
I'm stronger than you.
Well,
so what have I got to be insecure about?
Well, I think it's more that you're skinny. I think that's the problem. But I think
skinny is the new strong, guys. Just let you know.
Don't buy that. You don't want none of that. Don't buy into that. I do not concur. So what I'd say is relevant to you guys out there. If you know nothing about meditation and you don't do yoga and you don't want a bar of any of that, essentially what we're talking about is just bringing your attention to one thing. You don't have to let your mind go blank. You don't have to sit on top of a mountain. It's none of that BS. It's simply stopping your mind from being overactive and calming your nervous system down, because we do so much that jacks it up.
So let me take you to another thing that I do on the regular, which seems really kind of inconsequential, but I think it's actually pretty important for me. I have certain days that are long, and then certain days that are a bit shorter. I work from home a couple of days, and then I'm at the gym, and I'm at training jiu-jitsu, and I'm home late, and so my schedule is kind of random. But something that I try to do every night after dinner with my partner is we have like a cup of tea together.
Nice.
And it's like a full stop on the end of the day.
Cool.
We call it a hot drink because it's not actually a cup of tea.
Is this your? Oh God!
This is the coffee substitute.
Oh, the coffee substitute, the bloody bark in a cup nonsense, man.
That's amazing. It's called we call it dirty water because it pretty much looks and tastes like dirty water. But it's like this coffee substitute. It really has nothing in it. It's made from chicory root, but you mix it, boiling water, put a bit of milk, and it's this hot drink. And it's like, you've had dinner, clean the kitchen, whatever, hung out the laundry, like, okay, cool, good to like shut this thing down. Oh, you want a hot drink? Yeah, let's have a hot drink. And we'll have that and we'll sit together, or we'll like, put the TV on and like watch YouTube for 15 minutes or some MMA highlights or whatever. But it's actually kind of pivotal in me winding down.
The routine steps.
Yeah, and then the next step is go upstairs, have a shower, brush my teeth, go to bed, read a book, whatever. That having that little routine really helps me to sleep better. If I don't do that, so on the nights sometimes where I'm running a bit late, maybe I came home from jiu-jitsu too late and it's like, sorry, I don't have time for the hot drink this evening. I like hustle off to bed, and I find I get to bed and I'm like
still churning.
Yeah, and maybe it's characteristic of I've hustled through a lot of the evening. It's not necessarily like the hot drink was the thing, but I find like having those things there, they kind of anchor you a little bit to, oh, hey, it's the end of the night. It's like giving a baby a bath right before they go to bed. It kind of like cues it's bedtime.
Sleep time. Yeah, no, I think that's entirely true. Not even I think, I know for sure. So a good friend of mine, shout out Shannon, he is an insomniac and has been for the longest time. And he went to sleep school. And one of the biggest things he got out of that.
That'd be a fucking awesome school to go to.
Well, it's torture if you're an insomniac. Because they're trying to make you do something that you can't. You can't and kind of don't want to. Like you're so. I mean, you want to go to sleep, but it's like it's fighting your body's natural inclination. But bath for him, it's bath. If he has a hot bath, that's his cue.
Wow.
And then we do have these like warm down routines, right? And we're very trainer boards, like the kind of Pavlovian effect. You hear the bell, you're like, oh, that means X, Y, Z. Right? We have all these associative things. And for me and my partner, it's magnesium. We have night formula and
Bioceuticals?
Yeah, she's way
powerful.
She loves it. I'm such a pussy. Well, like what I found, hey, pro tip guys, I'll share this with you. If you're mixing magnesium night formula, it's chalky as hell and it's like, if you mix it with soda water, it mixes way better.
Oh, really?
And it doesn't taste as bad. I don't know what
I love the taste of that stuff. Isn't that funny? It's like a tangy kind of citrusy.
Yeah, it's citrusy, but it's the chalkiness that just gets me. I'm just like,
yeah, right.
I'm not great. So we will have, either one of us will make it, and it's usually we do it before we brush our teeth, because if you try and drink the magnesium drink after you brush your teeth, it's 5 times worse.
Right.
And I'm totally like, it's like when you watch someone drink alcohol who just doesn't, like a shot, someone who doesn't drink spirits, and they drink it and they go, and you see them die a bit. Whereas, you see people who just, like Middle European people.
Yeah. People from Poland, perhaps.
Poland. Who've just been drinking vodka since they were 12. My partner, she will down a 600 ml glass of like big scoop of magnesium, just like glug, meh. And I just, and they're just like a total fucking wuss. But that's what it is. I still do it. I know it's good for me. And it's funny, having a strong flavor, whether it's your dirty water or it's the smell, the taste, the process, is cueing you on a lot of levels to, wind down.
Yeah.
And for those of you out there, if you don't have a wind down process, this is something we need to get around. You actually need a warm down for your brain to get better sleep. So I think what you said there, Joe, is very relevant. Now, the other thing on that, guys, we're going to probably switch gears a little bit here. We're going to talk about someone famous, your man, Joe Rogan. Shout out.
Thanks for listening, Joe.
Cheers, Joe. Appreciate you, man. Basically, he's all about the sauna. And a lot of people ask different questions. Oh, what's better? Ice bath, sauna, Wim Hof, etc., etc. Wim Hof, also very famous guy.
I tell you, I met Wim Hof down at Clovelly Beach one day.
I have also met Wim Hof, but I went to one of his seminars.
Oh, yeah, right.
But please tell.
Oh no, it was just hilarious. It was winter. I was down there having a swim.
Who's that homeless guy?
Yeah, it's like this guy. Like I'm like, I think that's Wim Hof, and he was with a couple other dudes. And he was swimming. Then he got out of the water, and then I kind of got. And it was early morning. There wasn't many people down there. It's a bit of a local spot for those in the eastern suburbs. And I got out. I had my swim, and then I got out, and I was like, oh, I'll just walk past him. And I walked past him, and it's kind of quiet down there. It's like the sun's sort of just come up, and I was like, Wim, and he was like, yeah, man. Hey, what's your name? Great to meet you. Like he was just so high energy, and he like next thing we're hugging, and he's talking about how we're going to cure cancer, and like I was like, whoa, man. Like I wasn't ready for your energy. Love the guy.
He's big energy. I love Wim. I did his seminar, his first seminar in Melbourne, down at Docklands. And yeah, man, a lot of people showed out for that. And
like in the hundreds?
Yeah, I would say probably 200, 250 people in this like exhibition room.
Yeah.
But he needed this regulator. He had a guy there who was the event organizer, keep him on track, because he just goes, oh, you know what I said to Jay-Z? Breathe, motherfucker. Like he's meant to be trying to explain the methodology, and then he just has all these elaborate tales, and he kind of, yes.
Very similar guys, you two.
I can't match Wim, man. He's on a different level.
Give it time once you get to his age.
Once I'm a bit like more tweaked. But definitely doing the breathing and doing the ice bath thing, for sure, the Wim breathing in the ice is powerful. I came out of that like, woo! I was like Ric Flair, baby. I was like,
it's powerful. I mean, I really liked it too, the experiences I've had with it. But I didn't find that it was like, oh, I can do this every day.
No,
it's quite a setup. It's quite full on.
Yes,
it's like it's work. If
you don't have like a spare bathtub sitting on your back veranda that you can just fill full of ice or cold water, it is a hard thing. But how we can apply this to you guys, like if you're thinking about this, we can we'll talk about say sauna relevant to say Rogan, and we can talk about ice baths relevant to Wim. You, Joe, I've done it too, possibly not as consistently as you, is the cold showers thing.
Wait, we went off track because we were talking about the saunas and then I totally hijacked it.
You did. That's what
Tell
you
me,
did.
Go back to the Joe Rogan sauna piece.
So this is interesting. And obviously, Joe loves Dr. Rhonda Fitzpatrick. Rhonda Patrick, sorry, my bad. She drops some really good science knowledge in a very clear way. Really, if we look at the benefits of being in a sauna and exposing yourself to the stress that it can bring in your body, it is similar to an ice bath, but they are different in the sense that you're really going to up your circulation through the roof. Like you'll be pumping blood at a much higher rate. You get vasodilation with the sauna, but when you're in the ice bath, you get vasoconstriction, and you're getting like less circulation in that way, in that moment. Now, independent of each other, they have benefits of like creating a degree of stress within your body, which then gets your body to produce certain proteins, which are beneficial, whether it be extreme heat or extreme cold. It depends on, not everybody's just got a sauna available to them, but that said, some people live in colder conditions, some people live in hotter conditions. What I was going to say relevant to that is the contrast of doing hot and cold is what I like to do. That's what I've learned works, and that's what the science supports. There's plenty of science out there that says just sitting in an ice bath doesn't do as much for you physically as it does for you mentally.
Right.
There's these big claims about how it just, limits inflammation, does this, does that. But in truth, what they've found is contrasting hot and cold to get more flush, get more blood circulating around your body is really helpful for getting more blood flow.
How do you do it? Where do you go to a gym?
No.
Health club?
No.
Where do you go?
European Men's Club. Just lots of hairy guys wearing towels. Oh God, don't want to grapple with those guys. No. The way that I do it is I will usually do it in the shower. For most of you out there, if you're living the apartment life, you might not have a bath. If you're lucky enough to have a bath and a shower, cold water in the bath, just cold, no ice, hot water in the shower, blast your quads, blast your back, whatever's tight, hot water, 30 seconds on each limb, like whether it be your quads or whatever you're trying to loosen up.
You don't just stand right under it and cop it?
Well, yeah. I mean, if it's hot, yeah, as long as you're not scalding yourself.
Right, because it might be too hot.
It might be too hot to just take on the all the regions and then go sit in the bath for a minute and alternate.
So the bath is cold water.
The bath is cold.
Shower's hot.
The shower's hot.
Okay.
Because also some of you out there might have the directional, you might be able to pull the shower head off and direct it. Some of you, it's just fixed. Or if you have no bath, you can do the hot, cold alternate. And if you do this anywhere between 5 and 10 times, it's going to sound funny. I remember the first time I did it, I was staying with a friend of mine, one of my best mates, and he was like, "What are you doing? Like, what are you doing in that shower, man?" Yeah. It's just like, what's going on in there?
Don't come in here.
Avert your eyes, children. So the hot cold contrast is what I use. And this is the thing. Some people will say, "Oh, sauna's better." Some people say, "Oh, no, ice bath is better." When in truth, a successful combination of both, of alternating hot and cold, is the best thing for your circulation.
How often do you do it?
I would probably do that once a week because it actually takes a bit of courage.
Yeah.
Like you got to will yourself. You're like, this is going to be a bit of suffering.
Yeah.
The hot is so hot, you feel like you might burn yourself, and then the cold is just super uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so taking this back to regularity, Joe, because like cold showers, I've done that. I did almost 40 days, and then I kind of was like, I can't do it today. It would just make me really angry. I'm not the most content person at the best of times. You give me a cold shower in the morning, I don't even need coffee. I'm ready to fight. But this is something that you're able to fit in every now and again?
Yeah, I do cold showers every morning.
Wow.
It's just my thing, and I've done it for years.
Fucking psychopath.
I know. It's every morning, every single morning. I kind of dread it. I get out of bed, I'm like, fuck. I walk into the bathroom, and then like I procrastinate for about 30 seconds. I look in the mirror, and I'm like,
how's my hair?
I'm like, I pick my nose a little bit, and I'm like, and then I'm like, just turn the fucking shower on.
Here we go.
I go to, and I do it. I don't do it every. Like say I cut myself slack if I miss it. A couple of like if I'm sick, if I got a cold, I don't do it because I just fucking don't want to.
Yep.
And sometimes like if I got a cold, say I want the steam because it helps to
open it up.
Yep. Or if I like, if it's a Sunday and I wake and I have a sleep in, I don't stress myself. I have to do it.
Sure.
But I have been doing it pretty much every weekday and most weekends for, 3 or 4 years. And it's just routine now and it's easy. And it actually makes it's way better for my skin. I get really dry if I have a hot shower in the morning.
Fair
generally.
call.
Especially in winter. But in any case, I don't actually know if it has.
Tell us more about your facial care routine.
Yeah, well, I get my coach to cross-face me. That's the exfoliator. And then I go home and try and patch up the fucking cuts.
Crazes.
I don't actually know if it has a really beneficial direct effect on my recovery. But we do know that there's science that supports it. And so for me, it's kind of part of a greater sort of discipline, regularity kind of thing where I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it does help with my recovery. It definitely helps to energize me in the mornings.
Yes.
I do that. I have a cup of tea. I come to work. I start coaching people pretty early. If I don't do that, like if I had a hot shower, I kind of feel a bit sluggish when I get out of the hot shower.
Yeah.
I want to go back to bed.
Yeah, you feel like a little bit, sleepy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I think this is where we can kind of move again if we're looking at different activities we can do, because there's different things that increase our energy and they're an investment. They take a bit of effort. And there's certain things that we use not to decrease our energy, but like we were saying, down regulate. I've literally just come to do this recording off the back of a treatment. I went and saw Jared. He did a bit of ART, active release therapy, on matite bits. And that's the thing that you guys would probably be accustomed to. You have a hard week of jits, you get to Friday or Saturday and you're like, man, even if you're not injured, you're just feeling like a bit jacked up, knees a bit tight, neck's maybe a bit cranked. There's definitely been periods of time where I would go, 2-3 months and not get a treatment. But I've been lifting 5 days a week recently and trying to step my jiu-jitsu
Recently,
back up.
like for the last 15 years?
When I have a slow week, just 4 times. But also Mr. Flexibility sitting across the table from me. I can't have him always mocking my forward fold, which he does.
I've never once said anything.
Right,
You project that so hard. Every time JT are like, hey, we're filming a thing for the forward fold, he's like, fuck, man. It's just, I just need to lift my game. I need to lift my game, man. You
Stretch these calves.
Yeah. Bro, nobody cares.
It's true. Joe cares secretly. But what I was going to say,
the regular treatment.
The regular treatment does help.
Yeah.
It does help.
It goes a long way.
And what I say for you guys out there, what we do promote is obviously doing your mobility work, stretching on the regular. But sometimes you might say you get your neck cranked or you get Kimura'd really hard, and then you're like, I've got a pain in my shoulder, and you can't seem to address it. It's good if you've got someone you can go consult, whether it's a physio or a myo, a massage therapist of some sort, because they're also going to get in there in a way that you possibly can't and wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
They're going to take you to a point of discomfort where you're like, oh my God, you want to tap out, but you can't. And all you've got to do is breathe and relax in that moment. And I'd say recently for me, probably the last 4 to 6 weeks, I've been doing that like weekly. I've been feeling way better.
Yeah, I think there's like multiple benefits to that. One is though, like when you have that injury, like say you've like jacked your rotator cuff and you're like neck, back, kind of shoulder soreness, it fucks up your sleep.
Yeah.
Right? You don't rest as well. It's just uncomfortable. We can't get into a good position. So you go get the treatment, the pain stops.
Yeah.
And you're good, right? But the other part of it is that, and I used to notice this when I'd get my hair cut. I usually do it in the afternoon.
Yeah, okay.
It's a down-regulating activity.
Right. Yeah, okay.
So you go in and get a treatment from someone, Jared does a bit of work, and then he gives you that little remedial massage, 10, 15 minutes afterwards. Sometimes I might even fall asleep.
Yeah.
But I come out of that, I'm like, oh, that was nice and relaxing.
Yeah, it feels
Same way I get a haircut, you sit there for 30 minutes, 45, depending on, how swishy you're going this week. But you sit there and you're like, man, I haven't just sat and like not been reading or looking at my phone or watching TV or fucking doing or working. It's like I'm just sitting, and you're like, that moment is actually really beneficial.
Mental space.
Exactly.
Yes.
I was going to say on that, I have done periods where I get a regular treatment.
Sure.
At the moment, things are pretty good, so I'm not getting it. But what kind of works in a similar way for me is having my weekly mobility session.
Yes.
That like once a week, I do 60 to 90 minutes of stretching with my Bulletproof small group. Yep. And I'm like, that's the one session where I stretch everything out. I get into all the areas where I know I need it. Without that, I still stretch. I still do my mobility, but I don't do like a solid long session like that.
Big block.
Yeah. And we kind of promote whatever works for you. Little small bits, couple of bigger bits, like however you get it in, you get it in.
Yeah.
But I find that having that each Friday for me at the end of a big week, that really works well.
Yeah, and definitely this is a habit I got from Taekwondo. We used to do like dedicated recovery sessions. It was usually 2 or 3 times a week, and Sunday was the biggest. We would do all the stuff on one day. So all the stuff we're talking about, guys, with like going and doing a pool session or a sauna session, then doing a big bout of stretching and mobility work, and then after that getting a massage, and then after a massage when you're feeling all zen down, then going and meditating, and then after that you just feel like, man,
it's time to eat.
Right, yeah, just eat and sleep. It feel fantastic. But then you're going to get up, rinse, repeat, do it all again that week, like do the grind, because the demand was so high, the training volume was so high. But they would get us to do nothing as comprehensive as that, but midweek you would have to do 1 or 2 things as body maintenance, and then end of Friday, something, big sparring day on Saturday, and then Sunday recovery. And you guys have probably seen it if you're fans of football or any sporting team. Sometimes you'll see them go and do like cold water recovery work, and that's shown to basically help people recover by moving, like just being active. And this is a phrase that gets used, probably gets thrown around a bit lightly, but like movement as medicine. When you're feeling jacked up and you're feeling sore and you're like, man, I don't want to do anything. Honestly, that's probably the best time for you to do something just to get the circulation. Because when you've got like full on DOMs or maybe your ribs are bruised, like I was trying to pass Adam, who's a good friend of mine, coach, lovely guy, huge shin bones. And he was trying to play like Z-guard on me and he was like crushing my ribs off. Actually, I was crushing my own ribs because I was trying to crush his guard. But I ended up with like crazy, like sore. I was like, can't breathe. What have I done? Bruised my own ribs. And doing a certain amount of stretching, deep heat, moving it around, even though I felt like I can't do this, taking that action, improves the circulation. A day later, I feel better. So I think that's the thing I definitely want to advocate for everybody is to put time aside to look after yourself. And I think that's what you're referring to there.
Yeah, and build it into the routine. Because I mean, the one-off things you do, like, I went and hung out. I went and rolled with my friends who do Wim Hof. Like we got like Joel and Sammy, guys that we train with very sporadically, but good friends of ours, they love Wim Hof. So, whatever, you go do a session at their gym, you probably do a few rounds of Wim Hof. But that's like the first time I would have done it this year.
Right.
So I'm not going to say that Wim Hof breathing is part of my recovery protocol, right?
Sure.
But it's like, what are you doing every day that is contributing to this? Are you doing the contrast baths once a week?
Yep.
Are you having the magnesium every night after dinner? Do you do the hot drink, TV thing, coffee substitute? Maybe try it. You might love it.
Or not.
Yeah, you might fucking hate it. Joe's a dickhead.
Definitely.
Because that's the stuff that pushes the needle, the things you do regularly. And that's, going back to like part 1 and 2 that we spoke about for better recovery, it's like stretch after class.
Yep.
Do a little warm up before class. Like, because you go to class all the fucking time. So if you have those things happening at class, you're going to do those things all the time too. And that's what really makes the difference.
Definitely. And I think this is just something that we've talked about a fair bit. And for all of you out there who do follow our program, you'll know that we are very much promoting that you do stuff outside of jiu-jitsu to help your jiu-jitsu. That doesn't mean more of the same. Often it is the complete opposite. It's the unwinding. We spend all this time winding ourselves into a ball, kinking ourselves out of shape, tightening ourselves up. If we do not spend some time doing the counterbalance, then ultimately we get wound so tight, we break, or we just end up this gnarled little ball of a human. And, this is not really where we want to be. We don't want our passion to become a disability. So I think if we think about this piece of the recovery is more about things that you're doing off the mat to enable you to have that privilege of rolling regularly and feeling healthy and feeling good. Yeah. No one wants to be in pain and feel like they're 80 years old when, you're only just in your 30s.
I do have one last secret little recovery technique that I use every now and again.
Do tell.
I do a little vape.
Oh, secret.
Vape a little bit of that.
Oh, a little bit of mellowness.
Nature's special stuff.
Oh, treatment.
Yeah, a little bit of weed. And I do it very often. I don't do it very often. I do it, and it's usually on a Saturday. Yep. And it's like kids going to bed. Cool, not doing anything. And I put the TV on, and I'll just have a little vape, and then I'll just chill. And it actually, I find it used in that way. It's it's really nice, and it just shuts out a bit of the noise.
Yep.
And I get kind of wrapped up in whatever I'm watching, and then I go to bed, have a nice sleep.
Nice.
Yeah, but I think that's for me, it's a potent strategy.
Lovely. I think you've got to find what works for you. The thing that helps me is I get out around nature. My parents live in the Blue Mountains, and so I was very lucky when I was a kid to grow up around that environment. It kind of throws me back to being a kid. And I just go for a walk in nature. No phone, no noise, no music, nothing. Just being out there by myself, and try not to think too much. Just take it in, and try and appreciate that I'm just a speck within the universe of time, and I find that to be very soothing for me. It's living in the city, constantly living in these brick structures and all the different stress and nonsense we put in our brains. I find that just spending half an hour out in the middle of nowhere to be very soothing. And that helps me find a bit of space amongst all the noise. And can only wish the same for all of you guys.
Yeah, yep.
So if you have any more questions or any suggestions, guys, we have a plan. So we have our episodes planned out. We want to make sure that we're delivering good information to you guys and ticking lots of different boxes. But definitely, if there's a burning question that you have, or there's something you feel that we could include either on the podcast or in future content that we put out, please reach out to us. Hit us up on Instagram, which is @Bulletproof For BJJ. Or if you want to get a little bit more into what we do and actually follow the program, you can go to www.bulletproofforbjj.com and take our free trial.
Yeah, guys, if you like the episode, please give us a shout out, tag it in your stories, share it with a friend. It helps to spread the show. A lot of you guys have already been doing that, and we're super appreciative of it. So thank you to those people who like post on their stories and go, man, nice. This episode's awesome. Like that small gesture really goes a long way for us. So if you did dig it, please talk about it. And wherever you're listening, if you could subscribe to the show. So if you're on Spotify, follow it. If you're on iTunes or Apple, whatever, subscribe to it. Because again, it just helps for the show to grow and for us to get the word out there.
Definitely. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, brother.
Peace.